Good morning. It is December 16th when I'm recording this, probably 17th when I'll release it, but I hope you're having a good day so far. Thanks so much for everybody who's followed these songwriting chats. I've gotten some comments back in at how people are enjoying them, and they've been helpful. I'm glad. I just feel like I'm sitting here rambling. I don't consider myself to be a great conversationalist. I really don't like to talk on the phone normally, although I have enjoyed this season of reconnecting with many of you. In fact, I was just reflecting today on my growing database of those who have donated and contributed, and it is growing, and I'm very encouraged about that. And I had this thought: these are my people. This is my team. This is my team of people who believe in what we're doing, and I have connected, some in person, some over the phone, some texting, some email, with many of them, and I'm so thankful for them. So hey, we are at 52% for our sprinkle campaign today. I have heard rumblings of gifts coming in, more than just rumblings, but we shall see what that will add up to, and we're just, again, looking to the Lord. But I just like to start these off with a little bit of an update for you. Hey guys, I'm wearing one of the last pink things in my wardrobe. Guys, it's not really even scarf weather today, but I put it on for y'all. These are my colors. I love them. So there's a little pink in there. I did my nails in the car here. I just enjoy pink. I enjoy donuts, all the things. We're gonna just dive right into our songwriting part 5 here. I'm excited because we are now, we're not like leaving the lyric side, because if something comes to my mind, I will share. And I'm sure it's kind of all interwoven with music as well. So, but we did a lot of talking about the lyrics, but now we're going to talk about the music. And I hope I can do that sitting from the car today. I have 6 points. Whether we get through them all, I'm not sure. And perhaps at some point here, I'll have to sit down at the piano and actually show you what I do. But I'm excited. I've got some things to share with you. So buckle up. I'm just gonna ramble here about some of these next points. So point number 16. I've actually gotten some questions about this specific thing, and I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get an answer to you all. But I keep getting, Heather, what music program do you use? How do you get it from your head onto your computer, and work with it that way? So here's a little bit of a history. When I began music writing, I think just the going thing, or maybe just the only thing suggested to me, was the Finale program. So Finale, the Finale program, and it has served me very well. About 2 years ago, I got the latest update, so that would be version 27, I think. I'm not big into updates. I'm not one of those people that have to have the latest and greatest. I'm like, hey, if it works, it works, and I don't even care if it's 10 years old. And so I think previous to my version 27, I had like a version 12, and I know they hopped in numbers, so it wasn't like it was that many years. So I have worked with Finale. I'm positive I don't know everything there is to know about the Finale program, but I just work on the basis of what I need to know. That said, this is a little bit of a side note. I send my music in for critique to Heather Sorensen. I might have mentioned that already. She's been just very gracious in helping me, and it's been so helpful. And this past song that she just critiqued, she kind of moved on from just the creativity and the music and even like the part writing and piano accompaniment to just the formatting. She gave me so many great formatting tips and things that I ought to be doing. And folks, I haven't even been doing these for really 16 years since I started. I should have, well, you leave should-haves in the past, right? I've just been very helped by her last critique, because then I went through my music and I made it look a lot more readable. I will be the first to admit that my other many, if not most, of my other sheet music formats are harder to read, and my accompaniments are hard. I will admit that. I know that. And so anyway, she helped me with the Finale program, and to know what I ought to be doing as far as formatting is concerned. And so back to my point with Finale, I don't know everything there is to know about the Finale program, but I know what I know. I know what I need to know. I feel, and if I need to know something more, I'll learn that. I'll learn that as well. That said, I'm just going to turn everything on a dime here. That said, just a few months ago, maybe 2 months ago, Finale announced that they were making no more updates to their program. In other words, what you have, and if eventually there's a glitch down the road or doesn't work with your computer's operating system or whatever, you're kind of up a creek, because I don't know that they're necessarily going out of business. I'm not sure how that works, honestly. But once they said that, once they announced that, I saw it all over my Facebook feed, all these musicians that are like, oh dear, what are we going to do? Finale recommended that we switch over to a program called Dorico, Dorico, I believe that's how it's spelled. And so literally the day of or the day after, I emailed my orchestrator. I'm like, what are you going to do? Because we need to have programs that sync up, right? And so he's like, downloading Dorico right now. So I'm like, okay, I'll take my cue from you. And so I actually downloaded that program myself. So I have the Dorico program. That said, I have not begun using it because it's like learning a whole new system. Oh my goodness, I don't even want to think about all the work that's involved in that. But I will need to take that step. I know I do. Furthermore, I just read a comment on Facebook recently that somebody that has switched over from being like a 30-year Finale user who is now using Dorico and has put the time into learning it, said it's so much more intuitive with formatting. So I'm pretty excited about that, because when I format things, let me tell you, not only does it take time, it actually hurts my hands because I'm doing a lot of little teeny movements on my mouse pad to make sure everything's just lined up just right. But if all of that was like intuitive in a program, wow, that would be just lovely. And I will look forward to that time. Right now though, because I know Finale so well, and because inspiration hits when it hits, and I just need to put those notes in there as fast as possible, I'm continuing to use Finale. I don't know when exactly I'll switch over, but probably I would guess and hope actually and plan that it would be a slow learning process, so that eventually when I feel like I know Dorico well enough, then I would then write my next new song in Dorico rather than Finale. So I hope that helps. So what would I recommend beginner users? I don't know that I'm the one to ask that. I think there is a free Finale program online. Like, it doesn't have all the features, but I think that's the one my son is actually using. So if you're just kind of a beginner, like I'm kind of interested in songwriting and see how this goes, I would recommend downloading something free first. You don't want to spend a lot of money until you're sure that you are using the program you want to use, and that it's a long-term solution for you. So, okay, I hope that answers your question. Okay, on to the music part. Excuse me. I will say, when your lyrics are set, okay, when you are like, this is exactly what I want to say, and that's the question I ask myself, is this what I want to say? Is this the message I want out there? And when I'm like, yes, check, it is, and I'm like, is this how I want it to be said? Check. And I'm set. Like, I know, like, I usually come to a place with an original song of mine where I'm like, that's exactly what I want to say. That's exactly what I want to communicate. And I'm just like, I'm excited. I'm like, this is it. And when I reach that point, that's the time to sit down and begin to, this is what I call marrying your lyrics to a tune. And marrying, as we Christians know, it's forever. No, not forever. It's actually not forever. It's until one or the other passes away. Okay, like it's a lifetime union. Okay, and so obviously your songs don't carry that much weight, but they carry a lot of weight. Okay, so when you take a set of lyrics that you're like, yes, this is exactly what I want to communicate, it's a very important thing to marry it to a good and proper tune. Okay, because that's the vehicle people are going to catch this message from. Okay, and you know, of course, we know a lot of beloved hymns through the years, and we not only know them for their lyrics, we probably know them even more intuitively through their music. Okay, you can have, and furthermore, it can go both ways and go good and bad. You can have phenomenal lyrics that were just unfortunately married to a poor tune, a tune that did not help the message at all. I mean, you know, it's just kind of clunky, or it's just not compelling, just not inspiring. And so it's a very, very important thing that you marry your lyrics to the right tune. And when I say tune, I mean the melody. When you think of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, how I wonder where you are. Okay, you think of that, the note. You think of the notes, you think of the rhythm in which they're sung. But like, as a musician, and probably most people too, they can also, in the back of their mind, subconsciously know what chord is being played as well. I mean, they're not gonna be like, oh, that's an F chord, oh, that's a 1 chord, or a 4 chord, or a 5 chord. Not that. But you can just subconsciously know the chords that would fit in. If you were to play it on the piano with chords that totally did not line up with the melody, you would know. The average person would know. And so when I say tune, I mean the melody. Dun 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 da, 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 da. And then the chording that goes along with that. And it is true that once you create a melody and the rhythm in which that melody falls, you can go outside those bounds and get very creative with the chording, but you need to establish the original chording first, okay? And if I were sitting at a piano, this might make a little bit more sense if I were to play it out for you. But those of you who are listening, I'm assuming you already know a little bit about this. Okay. This is what I ask myself when I sit down, or I've begun to, and it's sometimes not like I always ask myself this exact question, but it's in the back of my mind. I think, how does this message make me feel? What mood does it put me in? Yeah, it sounds so pragmatic, but it's just the reality that music is the language of emotion. Okay, so you've got your text that you have settled on, and you believe it's the right and the truth. But then you want to think, well, how does this truth make me feel? Okay? And there's nothing wrong with asking that. We want the things that we know and that we read in Scripture to then churn our hearts and draw us to deeper affection. What does the Bible say? Set your affection on things above. We are to love the Lord, not just love the Lord. No, love him with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your strength. I mean, that's a lot of love. That's a total love. That's a lot. That's all your will. That's all your emotion. And folks, I say this out loud, and it's very convicting to me because I need to be moving in that direction, to love the Lord my God that way. And so we want God's truth to stir us, to really stir us. And so as I'm sitting at the piano with lyrics, what is stirring in my heart and what is stirring in my mind, and how does it make me feel? And as I was thinking about this question, I just briefly jotted down 5 different songs that, and maybe I'll only mention a few here, that I could explain to you how I felt when I wrote the tune to them. I'll give you one example. When I sat down and I came up with, and I can't even remember the first original melody that I put to the song Settle My Unsettledness. Can't remember it, but this I do remember. I was not settled on it. I'm like, there's nothing compelling about it. And I wish I could actually remember the tune right now, but I distinctly remember right in the process and the time that I was writing that song, I remember pulling into my driveway, and I remember thinking I had time or whatever to work on it when I got home that day. And I'm like, Lord, would you please help me find a tune that I just know is right for this piece, because I'm not settled on, no pun intended, I'm not settled on this tune. It does not communicate the feeling of unsettledness. And so eventually I came up with a tune, and God gave it to me. I trusted it was a direct answer to prayer, because I just really wanted it to feel unsettled. Okay, so the tune goes, settle my unsettledness, ba-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so just that first phrase feels unsettled. Did you see the note? Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's just is like, it's like a boat that's in kind of troubled waters. Settle my unsettledness. Da, 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 da. Okay, so even just that first opening line, I'm like, that communicates unsettledness better than my previous one, which I can't remember. Okay. The Let My Heart Be Quiet tune, this might have been the 7th or 8th song I ever wrote for FBS. And I didn't really write hardly any songs before that, just for funsies, I guess. So for Forever Be Sure, it was probably the 7th or 8th. I don't know. I didn't keep as good of records back then. I keep much better records now. But of course I knew it needed to be a quiet song. Hello, the title, Let My Heart Be Quiet. So it needed to just flow, sound like a prayer. Lord, let my heart be quiet. And so as we sing it, even now, 16 years later, or whatever, 15 years later, it still feels like a prayer. It still feels like it's just a quiet prayer. So I think I succeeded in marrying that prayer to a proper tune. Let's go on the opposite end. I don't know if you've heard the song The Battle Is On. It's on our Near You CD. We just this past tour began singing it in concert. We had never done it before. It was the first tour. I had written it years ago, back in 2020 or previous to that, maybe even 2019. And it was super fun to sing, super fun to pull that one out and to do it for the very first time. But I distinctly remember when I sent that song to my orchestrator, I'm pretty sure I would have sent him a link, because previous to that, my family had sat down to watch the movie The Croods. I don't know if you've seen The Croods, Croods. It's what we think was a super cute movie. We watch our movies with filters, so I don't think it would have needed any filters. I mean, pretty much all of the movies we watch are with filters because we don't want junk, but I'm only saying that because if it has something in it that's not approved or not great, I just want you to know that. But it's like a cartoonish movie, but there's a scene in it, this is what I'm getting to, there's a scene in it where it's a caveman family, okay? So back in the ancient days or whatever, this caveman family, cave people, that's what I'm trying to say, they were going on a food hunt, and I can't remember the actual name of the song in the movie, but it was intense. Okay, think of these cave people who are like running after this food because they need food to survive. But it was an incredibly intense song filled with amazing and very prominent percussion. Oh my word, I loved it so much. I loved it. I probably was smiling the whole time just watching that part of the movie. It was so cute and so fitting and so like, I don't know, just so much percussion. I loved it. And so I'm sure I sent the link to my orchestrator, and I'd be like, this is what I think of when I think of The Battle Is On. Okay, so I wrote a song about how in our Christian journey, we wake up every day and there is an enemy roaming the street who wants to completely destroy us. And we need to wake up and realize that there's a battle every single day. We don't think of that like it's a pretty comfortable day for me right now. I'm not experiencing great hardships or trials, but you know what? Somebody's after me in a spiritual sense, and we need to have our armor on. Okay, so the whole tenor of the song is, wake up, soldier. I think that's the third verse. Wake up, soldier, greet the dawn, Bible open, armor on. Okay, so it's a minor theme, but it's just intense. Okay, it's very intense. And so I'm like, could you please come up with an orchestration that resembles this food song from The Croods? I should put a link in my comments here so that you guys can kind of feel and see how they're similar. He nailed it. Wow, did he nail it? Okay, and I felt at the end of that, I'm like, this is exactly what I wanted it to sound like, and this is how I feel when I think of The Battle Is On. Like, get serious, get sober, people. The Christian life is intense. It's intense whether we realize it or not. Okay, and so I wanted that song to communicate that. Okay, that was a long explanation there. All right, let's just Lead Me, Lord. You have not heard this song yet. It's brand new, and guys, I have a feeling it might be one of my favorite songs. Not only I just feel like it's going to resonate with me every time I sing it, kind of like Let My Heart Be Quiet. Every time I sing that in concert, it's like I could pray this prayer every day. I could pray this prayer twice a day, because hello, it's noisy out there. It's noisy in here, and it's just so relatable. It's so pertinent, so relevant. And I feel like this song, Lead Me, Lord, is another one that's just exactly like that. I could pray it every day. Lord, my heart is prone to wander. And it's actually taken directly from Psalm 139. I think it's 23 and 24. Search me, O God, know my heart. Try me and know my anxieties, and see if there's any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. I know I've mentioned this on a vlog before, this particular song that I've written. But it's a gentle song. It's a pleading song. It's not urgent per se, but it's like, Lord, would you please lead me? I'm prone to wander. I know my heart. You know it better, but I know my heart is not where it ought to be a lot of the time. And so would you lead me there? And, we know that God can lead us in very direct and forceful ways almost at times. But he is a gentle shepherd. And so he will lead us there. When I think of leading, I don't think of somebody be like, taking me by the shoulders, turning me and shoving me in one direction. I think of somebody who is gentle, who even sometimes reasons with me and helps just gently change my heart, change my mind, and cause me, hate my sin even more. Okay, so I'm trying to, in words, describe to you what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling as I wrote this song based on those verses. And so as I sit down at the piano, it is just a sweet, quiet tune. And I was just playing through it yesterday, and that's what led me to want to mention it now. But I just envision this shepherd, this compassionate shepherd. Now, I don't really have a context in which I see shepherds shepherding, but when I think of God shepherding his sheep, I kind of envision in my mind this huge, vast valley with green grass and a gentle shepherd who just leads his sheep where they need to go. And with that visual in my mind, I sit down and I just start to play. Now, and so what came out, and it just fit. And for that particular song with that particular melody, the chorus seemed to come fairly quickly. So anyway, that's the mood I'm in. Even talking about it makes me just like have that yearning in my soul. It makes me feel something. And so when I, hopefully, Lord willing, the day that we record it, and then we produce it, when you listen to it, I trust that you will capture that same feeling of longing, that will really connect your heart and your mind to the truth, and what that living out that truth feels like. I know I'm talking a lot about feelings, and believe you me, I have done not a lifetime, because I feel like it's been more in my adult lifetime, understanding that feelings are fickle. I get it. But God did give us music to help the truth connect with our affections and with our feelings. Okay, let's go on here. Begin by writing. I only have a few minutes left here. I might only get through 3 points. It seems like that's all the amount of points that I'm able to get through on these chats because I keep talking. Okay, so number 18, begin by writing out your melody and chording. Okay, and I mentioned this earlier. I might have just jumped ahead a little on accident. But again, a song or the tune is your melody and your chording. Okay, so begin by making sure you've nailed those down. Remember, it's a process. You start by nailing down your lyrics. And we just talked about that a lot. Nail down your lyrics. And once you're for sure on those, then you want to for sure nail down your melody and your chording. So I'll open my computer and I know some of the ways of doing it a little quicker. Excuse me. And so I will sit down and I will start plunking out my melody and I don't actually fill in everything, okay? Filling in everything would slow down the inspiration process. I want to make sure that I love my melody. And so that my melody for the verse, the chorus, or maybe it has no chorus, maybe it's just a big fat verse and then another second fat verse and third verse. Every song can be different that way, but I want to make sure that I am in love with my melody. Sometimes I'll just sit there with the lyrics in front of me. I'll just either print out the lyrics, and I'll sit there and I'll play, and I'm like, oh, that was it. I'll make sure to go back, whatever it was, that particular measure or whatever. I'll go to my music program, I'll pop it in. Sometimes I'll put a filler, if I'm like, well, I'm not really sure what I want to do for this phrase, but I know I love that. So I'll make sure I get that in there. And I won't put all of the piano part in. I certainly won't put all the vocal part in. That's for later. But I will go into the left hand piano accompaniment, and I will just put the triad in there. So if it's a 1 chord, 1, 3, 5. If I'm like, no, it can't be a 1 chord right here, it has to be a 1 chord second inversion. And you music people know what I'm talking about. It's the E, G, C. I didn't sing the right notes, but it's the E, G, C. If you want a second inversion, G, C, E, and that makes a huge difference in how the feel of the song goes, whether it's your 1 chord or your 1 chord first inversion or 1 chord second inversion. And so I'll pop those in, because as I play through this, I want to make sure that I have the melody just exactly how I want it, and I have the chording just how I want it. And I'll just pop in just some reference notes, just so I won't forget. Because guys, like I said before, I have a friend who everything is just like cement up here. Not so for Heather Schaff. It'll be there 1 second, it'll be gone the next, and I want to make sure that I have it down and that I will not forget it, especially if my gut says, that's it. And again, there will be times where I will maybe come up with the whole first verse melody, but there'll be just one part where I'm like, that's just too cliche, that's too expected. And so I'll be like, I'll put it in there, I'll keep it there, but then I'll revisit it later on and hopefully change it to something like, yes, that's it. Okay, let me make sure I got everything under this point. Yes, understand this may or will change once you begin singing through it standing up. That's another point. You might love it sitting down, and I usually sit down to write my melodies. But it might change when I'm standing up pretending like I'm singing in front of people. It's just things about my vocal range or the feel of it will change. And I understand that there are times where I will change my melody, but I want to get the foundation, the basic structure down. Okay, to me, and I'll end with this here, a beautiful, captivating melody is super important to me. And I'll take the time necessary to get something I don't just like, but that I love. And I know when I know in my gut that it's right. And I know that it's a feel factor. It's not really something you can teach. One person's love is different from another person's love. But as the composer, it's a very satisfying feeling when you're like, that is it. And I usually have those moments where I'm like, that's it. I love it. And I want for me to get to that point, and hopefully if I can be affected by my music and my lyrics and whatnot, then that'll translate to the audience. Okay, guys, it's at 28 minutes. It's probably the longest one I've ever done because I keep talking. Oh, this is fun. I have 3 more points and I could keep talking, but I'll save it for later. And we'll revisit the music again next week, but I hope that I've helped give you a little bit of direction as you begin to marry your lyrics to the tune. All right, guys, time for me to go shopping. I'm really glad I don't have a lot of shopping to do because it's probably not very crazy out there. It's Monday right now when I'm recording this, but anyway, I hope you're having a good Christmas season, a meaningful, restful season, and we shall, Lord willing, see you again next week.